Tempting to give these rocks a kind of characterization. They are, after all, considered enemies, bad guys in the original Legend of Zelda game, so I want to make some of that come through. Sort of drawing a angry face on them or something. Still don't love my design for these Tektites, the spider guys. All I really knew is that they couldn't look like that same kind of round shape as the rocks. It wasn't distinctive enough, so I kind of gave them this squashed pumpkin appearance, but I don't think they look like Zelda enough. That might be something I can address with texture, or maybe there's something perhaps overly complex in their design. Or maybe they're fine, and I'm just overthinking it. It's probably that. Today, we'll try to knock out these rocks and then get the background for the mountain sketched in. Might do some cloud drawing. I think a lot of that will just be sort of special effect texture and painting that I'll do in the final stages. Streaming regularly has been difficult for me lately. There are a few factors. Probably biggest one is I've just been a little busy with work, which is great. And another is that I've been busy being social. It's been the long, whatever, 4-day weekend. Feels like a 5-day weekend for me. But definitely kept busy in this past week, doing things with friends, going to friends' houses, celebrating 4th of July, staying up too late, getting up too late, drinking too much, not exercising, as we know. I accountability apart from my friends and family. Okay, that feels like good rocks. Now, so when I draw this mountain, it'll be in a few layers that are sort of staggered. So what I'll do is I'll put sort of translucent layers of like dust, essentially, like clouds of dust. It'll add atmospheric perspective as it goes back. Some of these rocks, they're all on the same layer now, but they may get broken up so that some are deeper in space and some are closer. Right now, it's not a priority, but later on that'll happen. But right now, I'm going to put Link at the top of the stack. His fill is there, but I'll set that to white. Doesn't distract as much. Okay. Last week was a bust, but today he's not going bad so far. Of course, I had to get up at 3 a.m. Not just to do this, but to wake up without a gun to my head. So, actually got out of bed around 3:20. And then did some yoga. Little yoga. Haven't done that in a while, so I was very rusty. But painful to start. Felt good afterward, though. I'm very glad I did that. Then, ready from yoga, so I took a shower. Hair is all perfectly clean and nice. While I was doing my yoga, I was watching these lectures on chaos theory. About these unpredictable patterns that repeat. Just interesting. It's a fun meditation. Things you think you can ignore coming back to bite you in the ass. Oh, like what kind of difference could that make, or whatever? even just in drawing the pattern on this rock, there are, if there's too much order, it certainly wouldn't look natural. If it's too random, it won't have the right composition. I'm not sure what would happen. It just would look like there was no decision making. That wouldn't be good. What I'm doing right now is just sort of editing the information in these rough brushstrokes that are underneath, which we can see pretty clearly here now. When I did this, I was probably drunk and not thinking about it too much, which helps with some things that just sort of need to come out, good or bad. And now I see it and I can use that information. It's information. My information wasn't necessarily well thought out or planned, but doesn't mean it didn't work. Okay, so what's going to happen is this texture at this scale can't just be, I can't just echo the same texture at that scale moving up here. I think this looks okay for this, but I'm not sure if it's going to work in the same way when we push forward up the mountain. Might be some unexpected surprises. Like the information might not compress nicely. Might have to be a little bit more edited. Think in bigger groups. Hey, Faye. What's going on? Cool. What's the premise of your board game? Because if we chatted about it, I don't remember. Oh, that's cool. Hmm. The space is in danger of flattening out. I need to do more to drive a sense of that space and compression. It's tricky. Do I just add more information? Which is not what I want to do. I don't want to just add complexity distractingly. If I do this right, it'll look like the viewer is doing it themselves. Definitely need a lot of variation. Like it can't just be this. I mean, maybe it can be like this, but this sort of tree of connection points that goes up to the top, maybe. More variation too. Like, of course, you go up, there could be things that, yeah, I should just be more in tune with what the information in my original sketch is trying to tell me. Maybe not fight it. If you zoom in, there are sort of almost imperceptible differences in the information here. If I just trace those, might resemble. A good look for a rock, and then a lot of it will sort of be determined by lighting and shading and shit that's going to. Yeah, they look like Doom enemies. Your your annoying comment is not. It's actually well placed in truth. The I've been aggravated about this myself in that I sort of defaulted to like this sort of alien-esque design for the bad guy here, and it's not appropriate for Zelda. So thanks for the brutal honesty there. I was like, is this bothering anybody but me? And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll have to fix that. I think they're just overly complicated, which isn't normal with Zelda stuff. At least, like, I mean, maybe if they were like, it was just like one boss and it looked like that, that'd be excusable, but it's not quite right. I don't know if I want to fix that. I don't think I have time for it, but I'm. They do resemble Doom enemies. They look like those spider god. No, not the spider god things. Let me figure out what's going on here. It's like a Doom one enemy. The kind of they kind of look like the just the demons. Let's see here. What they call it. It's like pitbull looking. Why can't I just click a link? Basically this. Maybe. Like, looks too much like that. Big mouths. Arachnotrons. I think you're right there too. Arachnotron. Huh, they do. Definitely this guy. Yeah, the Pinky Demons, these guys. These were the original Arachnotrons, that's why I didn't quite make that connection. Although it's like similar because of course they're spider-like, right? So uh, I should be doing Doom fan art. Maybe I'll do Doom fan art one day. That'll be fun. I definitely just defaulted. I talk about this where I'm like, I'm not necessarily always thinking very hard. Doom 64 Arachnotrons. Let's see here. I was in original Doomy back in the day. Arachnotron. So scary. I had I had Doom on. I'm so old. I had Doom on shareware floppy disks. And maybe it should change, or maybe it shouldn't. I mean, I did come up with it. I know I did because I didn't look up spiders or doom arachnotrons. This was just my attempt to make it look like a more interesting-ish. Okay, the problem. I think part of the problem is there's a lot of. Um, they look like they're made out of. Yeah, yeah. So I think what I've done here, Faye, is I'm gonna analyze this a little bit by making these resemble bones. These structures, like this, is like basically a compressed, femur, um, and these are like phalanges, essentially. Like they're bones. I've just automatically drawn bones as the exoskeleton, and it that aesthetic is very Doom. So these things look like wandering, you know, possessed collections of bones. The face, yeah, but the original Tektites. So the problem with the original Tektites is that their design, at least how I was analyzing it, was too round. It had one giant eyeball, basically, and a giant eyeball and a giant rock that is also circular are too close in um, shape. Essentially, it's like both globular spheres, essentially, and that wasn't enough to separate them out in the composition, or so I feared. Initially, it was causing me a lot of trouble to see what composition I could make. I suppose what I could try to do is, now that I have a composition that I like, I can go back using these guys as sort of a base and see if I can regraft more of the original concept onto just sort of rebake it a little bit, do a little rehash, because I like the posing and I like the where they are in space. I like the sizes that I have here. I like their scale. Um, but having gone as far as I did with the rest of the project and coming back to it and just realizing it's like, if this is going to keep bothering me, and the fact that you noticed it means you noticed something that I didn't intend you to notice, which is good feedback. It's like, this is like an important piece of information that I can use, and that it's like, I want you to notice what I want you to notice. I don't want you to notice that these look like Doom characters. That looks out of place. It should look like they are. It should be instantly readable as Zelda, not Link. Not Doom characters are invading Hyrule and Link needs to get them. Although that would be an awesome premise, but I can see that needs to get adjusted. That's okay. We can make mistakes. This is not a stream of perfects. That would be cool. That would be a cool crossover. I'm having some difficult. Today's difficulty is trying to figure out a way to distill the infinite complexity of variation that is in a rock and apply that in a perspective shot of a mountain, because the rocks close up have a lot of detail, and the rocks farther away have even more detail, but they need to be less detailed So how do you make those choices? And while I have a lot of experience drawing, I don't typically draw a lot of rocks in my day job. So what can I do except admit that and then see what can be done? And before I look up references, of course, like if like go see what other people did. I'm like, yeah, but problem with that is I'm extremely sensitive to what I can see, and sometimes I like figuring it out on my own. Yeah. There definitely needs to be all this chaos. It needs to look dangerous, perhaps even unstable, um, but also solid and self-consistent. I'm going to think about it in layered stages. So definitely want there to be this foreground, midground, background. The background is like the very top of the mountain. It's going to have a lot of cool stuff. Those the effects from the top. I mean, it's like a volcano, right? So there's going to be like spewing ash. That's going to be at the top of that. That's too complex to draw. I'll get to that later. Probably too tiny to see anything. And again, I'm not trying to think too much about any of it. Letting my hands sort of wander. It's like letting a drop of water trace a path down, find its own path down, yeah, a little stream of water, finding its own path down a hill, a gentle slope, sort of self-organizes without any need to intervene, finds the path of least resistance all by itself, gives you information you can use. And what I'm trying to be attentive to is my own emotional reaction to what I'm seeing. So I'm not attending to my hand drawing, I'm attending to my mind receiving the information that's coming from it. If I see it make something that I don't like, I'll have an emotional reaction. I'll be like, that feels like a mistake. So I'll back it up. I'll reset the experiment. It's like, okay, find a new path down the hill. Don't go that way, but do it again, but not that way. No, not like that. We'll have to have more overlaps as the mountain wraps around. And like, I don't need this to look like the, the Paramount logo or anything like that. It can just be very chaotic. Stuff can jut out at weird angles. It doesn't have to, it needs to look like it would be extremely difficult to climb, I think is the point. That will definitely be an upcoming stream, is fixing the tektites. Okay, we're gonna go about another 30 minutes, maybe less. Like it or not, I have daily morning obligations. Call this last layer summit. Almost like you want to make it so far up you can't even see it. Just let it disappear a little bit. receding into the atmosphere. Big Ugly Mountain. Okay, we got 15 minutes. Let's see if we can do something with these tektites. these are the original Tektites. Well, these aren't the originals. Let's see the original. T-Laws. So this is the original Tektite. Eyeball with, I mean, it's just sort of like, okay, I get it, but can I synthesize that a little bit better? It just looks like it's easily squishable. They look like overripe grapes that are about to burst. It doesn't look like it belongs on a mountain. I can make myself a little less exhausted by designing it with the symmetry tool. All right, I'm gonna call it a stream, and I appreciate feedback, even harsh truth, crucial, crucial, but difficult to deliver feedback. Um, I'm actually liking this design a little better, so I think I might be onto something. But we'll sleep on it a bit, come back later, think about what else might be needed. Maybe nothing else. Maybe this is good. We'll see. All right, but I like it. I like it better. Feels more Zelda-y. Shouldn't be too hard to implement. Reads as a tektite. I like it. Okay. I'm gonna say adieu. Remember to do this the right way. Catch you later next time.